All right. So I like to think big picture and work backwards. And we're thinking about what is the main goal for you guys. And the main goal is for you guys to get 14 credits. And when you get your 14 credits, that allows you to have a UE subject. Whoops. When you guys are applying for university, they are going to require that you have 3 UE subjects, and you guys are currently taking 5 subjects. So basically, 3 out of your 5 subjects that you're taking right now, you need to get 14 credits. Are we okay with that so far? All right. Now, one of the things you're going to have to be mindful of is that different programs require different things. So some programs just need, UE subjects in any kind of approved on the whole list. And most of what you guys should be taking this year should be UE approved. If you're not sure, I'm happy to look up your timetable and let you know. Some specific programs like engineering and biomed and health science will require you to have a pure science as part of your UE list. So like biology, chemistry, or physics. I know for biomed and health science, they often look for biochem or physics. Depending on the course you're looking at, I know Otago wants 2 out of those 3. Auckland Uni, I think, may only require 1, but do double check that. Engineering, on the other hand, some of you guys are thinking about that. They will require physics and they will require calculus as well. While you're looking at that as well, keep in mind that I think for Auckland Engineering, they're going to require you to sit more externals and pass them as well. So there's all these different things you guys have to keep in mind. So for this course, we basically have 2 options on how we create a UE subject for you guys. It's either you have it as a chemistry subject or as a science subject. So chemistry is what most of you guys are in, and you only take the chemistry standards. A handful of you guys are doing science, and that's going to be a mixture of chemistry and earth science standards, if you guys know. So that's something to keep in mind. My goal is to make sure that we get our 14 credits. What I'm going to prioritize us doing at the time being is making sure we get all our internals at the achieved level, simply because you can't pass level 3 chemistry without an external. So let me explain what that is looking like. So if you guys remember, so now I'm talking chemistry. I can also break down science for those that are studying science. So for chemistry, we have redox, we have spec, and we have ocean acidification. All of our internals, unfortunately, are only worth 3 credits. So if this one's 3, that one's 3, that one's 3, we are walking out with 9 credits there. That's not good. It's a lot of rain. You guys okay? Of the rain or of the course? Okay. Yeah, I'm worried I'm going to get like a phone buzz. So what that tells me is that for the pure chemistry subject, I cannot pass on internals alone. We have to do an external. There are 2 externals for us to choose from. There's the organic, which you guys have had a little bit of exposure to. And then there is the thermochemistry one. Thermochemistry bridges on from last year. So if you guys remember structure and bonding from last year and you liked it, then you'll probably like thermo. And we've talked briefly about the difference between these 2. Thermo's nice in a sense that you can easily rote learn it and memorize the material, but it's easier to get the achieved on, harder to get the excellence on. Organic is big picture thinking, harder to get the achieved on, easier to get the excellence on because there's not that much writing. These are both worth 5 credits. The idea with chemistry is that what I want you guys to do is pass all your internals and then pick one of these externals. And that will give you 14 credits. Yeah? So it's really crucial for the chemistry kids to pass one of these exams. If you don't pass one of these exams, you won't be able to get level 3 chemistry. Yeah? So my plan is, we've done the redox, so you guys have those 3 credits in the bag. The good news is that everyone, I've had a look through assessments that you guys have done. I know some of you guys want extra time, but the good news is everyone that has sat the assessment has gotten at least an achieved. So you guys do have these 3 credits in the bag as well. All right. My plan is then for the remainder of this term is to start the ocean acidification and make sure you guys fill in the resource to the achieved level by the end of this term. I'm happy for you guys to obviously polish it up and get it to the merit and excellence level, but I want to prioritize making sure we all have it at the achieved first, so that way you guys can have these 3 credits in the bag. Do we understand my thought process so far? All right. Now, I want to give you guys backup options in case you are worried about the exam or in case you are, basically worried about the exam. So chemistry is our first option. Our second option is to get level 3 science. Some people are already enrolled in this subject because they already know, like, I don't need a specialized chemistry course for my degree. And yeah, that's basically it. So there's 2 ways we can get you guys a level 3 science course. The first option is what people are currently enrolled in right now. So what these students will do is they've done redox. They will do spec, or they have done spec. So that's 3 and 3. And then there's 2 more standards you guys will be doing. You guys will be doing nuclear physics, which is 4 credits, and that one's in an internal as well. And you will be doing one on geology, which is, again, another 4 credit internal. So no exams for you guys. This will then add up, if I'm doing the math right, 14. This is just passing science. So these are our 2 pathway options to get you to 14 credits. But depending on your course, you might need to take the chemistry one. If your course at university doesn't state that you need specifically chemistry or a pure science, then you can switch to the science program and make sure you get a UE if you're wanting to take the pressure off. But I know for things like biomed and health science, they have a higher standard for the entry requirement. Are we okay so far? Questions, concerns, comments? All right. So that's what the science program looks like. So that's option number 1. You take redox, spec, and then these 2 internals. You obviously don't take the external. You get your 14 credits, and it goes in as a level 3 general science. The other thing we can do is if you kind of hit the wall at the end of the year, and you're like, oh crap, I'm not going to pass chemistry, we can still create this course. But what we're going to have to do is collapse 2 of your science courses, because it would be really hard for us to pick up these 2 internals. If we do pick up those 2 internals, we can. We'll probably just aim to get them at the achieve level if it's so late in the year. So where are my notes? Oh yeah, collapse. So our other option is to collapse 2 of your science subjects. So for example, if you're taking biology and chem, what we can do is we can combine these 2 subjects and we can make them the science class. So that way you don't have to worry about doing any extra internals. So if you're worried, oh, I may not pass bio, or oh, I may not pass physics, we can combine it with chemistry. We could also do like chem and physics. And what we can do is we can combine 2. Some of you guys are, how many of you guys are sitting 3? Yeah, a couple of you are sitting all 3. So if you're sitting all 3, what we could do is collapse 2 of them and leave your best one alone to form that science course. The downside to doing this is that instead of having 5 subjects, you now only have 4 subjects. So you have to get 3 out of the 4. But the good news is you're then probably guaranteed to get the science one. because internally wise, you should easily have enough from chemistry and from another subject like bio to combine together to form science. So just keep that in mind as like our options. That's a good kind of last minute thing that we can do. But just be mindful then that if you are collapsing any of your science subjects down like that, you then need to make sure you're passing your other subjects as well, because now we have one less subject available. Are we okay with that so far? Questions, concerns, comments? All right. So let me go through the plan then for this week, and then, or not this week, this term, what we need to do during the holidays, and then what we're going to be doing next term. Do you guys need a break? You okay? Okay. All right. So here is our schedule remaining for the rest of the year. So we have week 8, Friday, which is today. Come on, focus. We have week 9, Monday. We have week 9 on Thursday. We have week 9 on Friday. So that's what week 9 normally looks like. And I'm going to write in when we have the rostering home so you guys are aware of that too. And then that's Monday, Thursday, and then Friday. So those are our lessons remaining for the rest of this term. Now, some bad news is that let's assume the rostering home continues, because we want to think worst case scenario. Best case scenario, if something's resolved and we don't have to do any more rostering home, then we just get some extra class time, which is great. If not, then we have to be prepared for losing those lessons. So the good news is next week, there's no rostering home days that will affect chemistry. So that means that you guys are going to be rostered home currently, I think, on the Wednesday. That's the plan. I don't know if it's 2 days for you guys next week or if you only have the 1 day. Okay, that's better. All right. Then for week 10, the Monday, you are going to be rostered home based on this current schedule. Thursday, you're going to be rostered home. So we're losing our 2 chemistry lessons that week. And in fact, it doesn't really matter with the Thursday being rostered home because we're using that as a mentor day anyway. So you're going to be meeting with your mentor teachers and things like that. Friday was originally going to be the mentor day, but because we've lost so many days, the school has decided that Friday, last day of term, you're going to see all your classes. Yeah. So you're going to have all 6 classes, 45 minutes. Yep, you get your study too. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? So we're not losing you on Friday like I had thought, which is kind of good. Yes, Madam Shah. Yep. Aren't you guys rostered home the whole day anyway? Oh, that was week 10. Right, I remember now. That is to be determined. So all of these rostering home days and the half day on the last week on the Wednesday depends on how the teachers' negotiations go with the ministry. So if they go well and we settle our contract, we will cancel all our strike action. If it doesn't go well, the strike action continues, and Wednesday of week 10, you guys will have like a half day, because then the teachers that are in the union will meet and vote on what they want to do next term for our industrial action. So unfortunately, that's part of the problem that we're running into this term, is that I don't know what's going to happen. So originally the plan was for us to move on to the external, so that way you guys can have a head start and maybe make a decision before, or make the decision over the holidays, which externally wanted to do. But with the time we have left over, I don't see the point in me starting an external with you guys. And I think you guys would agree with that. There's no part in like starting and stopping. So what I was then thinking of what we should be doing is we should start our ocean acidification internal. So that way you guys can get that to the achieve level, make sure we have those 3 credits in the bag, and then you guys can have the holidays to work on it. Does that sound like a good kind of hopeful plan? The ocean acidification one is not very teacher heavy. It's very student directed because you guys are researching about ocean acidification and writing a report on it. So you can do that remotely. That was my other thought process. Since you guys are rostered home, this is a topic you can do at home because it's just researching on your own, reading about the different kind of problems and things like that. I will teach you guys a couple of lessons on ocean acidification as well. So that way you guys have some context into some of the stuff you're reading. Does that sound good so far? All right, continue with my plan? Okay. So what I am thinking, and you guys, I want your input as well, is that we delay sitting the part 2 of the spec assessment until Thursday of week 9 to give you guys a couple of days more time to study. So spec part 2. My thought process as well is that if we do this on the 3rd, I didn't want to push it to the Friday because I want to make sure if you guys need extra time or if you're absent, we still have the Friday here and we still have the Friday here. So that's why I want to do it on the Thursday. I figured I shouldn't do it on the Monday because you guys probably want to. Good. It's nice. Oh, if I go to, yeah, now it's here. Now it's at home. I figured you guys wouldn't want spec part 2 on Monday. I figured you guys would like to have an extra day. So that was my thought process there. Yeah. And then Fridays, this Friday and this Friday, we'll use as either extra time or makeups for those that have been absent. Yeah. And worst case scenario, if you're done, then you can work on the ocean acidification internal. All right. So my then thought process for these 2 days, so today and Monday, is to do some teaching for the ocean acidification. And for you guys to have spec study. Sound good? So that's the plan for today's lesson and on Monday's lesson. And then Friday we'll play it by ear. We'll see how you guys are going. But either way, it'll just be like working on ocean acidification, most likely. Are we okay with that so far? All right. So by the end of term, the plan is we have spec done, and then we have ocean acidification done to the achieve level. So I want all this done by end of term 2. So you guys are going to sit spec next week. That'll be polished off. Ocean acidification, I just want you guys to do the achieve level for now. So that way we can guarantee you have those 3 credits. I'm not closing ocean acidification off because I want you guys to still have the option to go up to the merit and the excellence level. It's just so that way we can ensure the credits are in the bag. We good? Okay. So that's what I need done by the end of this term. What I want you guys to think about over the holidays, let me grab another color, is 3 things. So holiday work that I want you guys to think about. First thing I want you to do is double check your uni programs to see what their entry requirements are. So number 1, double check uni programs for entry requirements. The main thing I want you guys to check is, do you need a pure science or can you have a general science? Because that's going to influence then what you're going to do in term 3. With a general science course, because the general science course is a UE course. Yeah. The other thing to also double check is how many credits you need. Most of you guys should need 14 unless you're going to Otago. So most should be 14, some might be 18. If it is 18, you're going to have to sit both exams. Unless you're sitting in another science class, then you could always get the 18 in a different science class. So I don't know how you guys are feeling with your bio and your physics. If you feel more confident in bio or physics, then I would rather you try to get the 18 credits there. But just kind of keep that in mind with the planning. If you're only taking chemistry, well, then you're going to have to do it in chemistry. Yeah. Good news, bad news. All right. Then the other two things I want you guys to do is I want you guys to start looking at the externals in your SciPad. So just start doing some of those workbook pages just to get an idea of what those standards are like. And start learning the material. The nice thing about the SciPad is that it is scaffolded, so you can actually start picking up the material there. Did I give you guys SciPads? I can't remember if I did.
Yeah.
You did? Okay, cool. So you can use that as a reference point. What I ideally want you to be doing, okay. All right, so start looking at the externals. The reason why I want you guys to start looking at the externals is one, to start learning the information, but two, we really need to make a decision on which external you're sitting. So if you don't need to sit both exams, I would highly suggest that you only do one, because I want to make sure you guys pass it and get your UE. There's no point in spreading yourself too thin. I would like a decision on which externals you are doing by term 3, week 2. Or I should say end of term 3, week 2. The reason why I want it, so if you guys get a head start and look at the SciPad, you can get a feel of which one you like better, and then I will do 2 weeks worth of teaching. If you still want to listen to both content, you can, but by the end of week 2, I'm going to be asking you which external are you planning to sit. I would rather you guys not say both, because most of you don't need both, and I don't want you to spread yourself too thin. And you're going to realize when we're going through and teaching this material that it is quite a lot of content. And I don't want you guys to roll the dice and sit both of them and then fail both of them. I'd rather you sit one and do it really well, especially considering like it's the only way to get 14 credits. All right. And then option number 3 for your holiday work, depending on what your goals are, is you can work on your ocean acidification. To the merit excellence level. Those are your 3 things you can be looking at and doing over the holidays. We good? Questions, concerns, comments? No? All right. Just so you guys are aware, when you guys come back in term 3, we are going to be focusing just on the externals. So my plan is to basically kind of flip-flop during the days. I'll do one day where I'm teaching thermochemistry, and then the next day I'll do organic, and then I'll switch back to thermochemistry. So I'm just going to alternate the thermochemistry and the organic like that. If you are only sitting one of the externals, what that means is that every other day you have practice like study day, which is quite useful to give you time to process. So that's why I really want you guys to pick one. The other option then is if you are not sitting an external for chemistry in term at the end of the year, you are going to use term 3 to do those other 2 standards that are needed for the science. So you'll be doing the nuclear physics and the geology one. Yeah. The other thing I want to note is that the science kids don't need to do ocean acidification. So you guys, I will start assigning the nuclear physics stuff to you guys, so you can get a head start on the next internal. Sound good? All right. Questions, concerns, comments? No? I know it's a little bit overwhelming. I'm trying to help you guys plan so that way we make sure we're using our time well. Okay? Cool. I'm just looking at the time. What does this period end? 40. Okay. Do you guys need a little break? Okay. Take a little break. I'm going to pull up the stuff for ocean acidification just so you guys are aware of what that is and what I want you guys to be doing by the end of this term. And then I'll pass back the spec internal for those that haven't seen their work yet or for those that want extra time. Cool. All right. You guys can pick what you want to work on for the time being. Give you guys a little break.